Hello everybody. So today what I thought I would do is what I typically do every single day as my go-to look. I guess that's what you would call it. I will start out by moisturizing. I usually do this after I wash my face, but I'm just going to show you anyway. So I'm going to be moisturizing my face. This is the EMBRYOLISSE. I don't know how to pronounce this. Sorry. I've never known how to pronounce this, let's be honest. My face always goes so red when I paid attention. The primer that I typically use is my Skindinavia The Makeup Primer Spray, just because it's so easy. You just shake it up and then I do a cross, kind of like you're drawing like an asterisk. And then that sort of covers your whole face and you're good to go. So primer's done. How quick was that? Now for foundation, I find on an everyday basis, I typically don't want anything too heavy. I kind of save my heavier foundations for nighttime. Also, I like something that's more affordable because I don't want to be going through a foundation really quickly that's quite expensive. So like my MAC, NARS, things like that. I typically like to use a drugstore product for every day. One that I would recommend is like L'Oreal True Match because it's quite sheer, so it's good for every day, but it's still buildable if you do want like more coverage. Today I will be using the Fit Me Matte and Poreless by Maybeline. I highly rate this. I think it's really, really good. And I believe it's at Priceline for like 14 bucks, so I can't go past that. Like why not? Another tip, if you have like a thicker foundation that you kind of want to sheer out, just add a little bit of primer to it. Sometimes I add my Stila One Step Correct and that kind of shears it out, or like a beauty oil like a jojoba oil, or even argan oil or rosehip oil. Just add that to it and it will sheer it out a little more. With this foundation in particular, I like to pop it on with a brush and then go in with a beauty blender. And I always use downward strokes to apply my foundation, just so that it doesn't sort of disrupt any little fine hairs on my face. And then I just bounce it in with a beauty blender. Well, this one isn't a beauty blender. This is by Real Techniques, but same sort of thing, just use a beauty sponge. This foundation is a really good match for Loving Tan Ultra Dark as well. So if you're using that tanner and you want to find a foundation to match it, it is 220 Natural Beige. If you do have like blemishes or veins or freckles or whatever you have that you want to cover up, I would suggest, instead of putting on more foundation to cover that up or using a thicker coverage foundation, instead just use a sheer foundation and make your skin look like skin, so it still looks day appropriate and sheer. But then where you have something you want to cover up, just go in with a concealer. So then your whole face isn't really thick, it's just the areas where you do need extra coverage, you've just got that little bit more. I always like to use my RCMA palette for that kind of thing, but I just like to usually do that around my nose where I get a little bit of redness, and under my eyes because they tend to get dark circles. And I usually apply that with my XO Beauty Flat Top Eye Brush, just because I find it's almost like a little mini foundation brush. So it's perfect for stippling in things and, you know, buffing things into the skin. So multi-purpose brush, if you do own this one, give it a try for concealer. It's really good. Now this is when I will move on to my brows. For something quick in the morning, for an everyday look, I usually go to grab my Brow Magic by Poni Cosmetics. I freaking love this product. I loved it a little too hard. It's done, it's finished. I need to get a new one, but for the sake of this video, this is what I normally would use, but instead I'm just going to use their brow powder. I use the Poni No. 2 Palomino, and I just find this quick powder or like a little pencil or something's a lot quicker than using like a dip brow. It's just easier to work with. If you're using a dip brow and you have too much product, it gets really hard to like blend it out quickly and you make mistakes and you're like, ah, and you get stressed and you don't want that. So a powder is really good because generally you can just sort of brush it out if you use too much product. I like to concentrate on the tail of my brow first, and then typically I like to go down the bottom part of my brow and flick upwards. I try not to put too much product sort of at the arch forward at the top, just because I find it looks a little more natural, but just go ahead and do your brows however you are comfortable with it. If you are blessed with beautiful natural brows, you could even save time by just using like a brow mascara type thing, like a Benefit Gimme Brow or something like that, and just run that through your brows, or even just a clear brow gel. And then once I'm sort of happy with my brows, I'll just take a clear brow gel. This one's by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I just run that through my brows pretty quick. Like, this one's clear, so you don't have to be too careful. Just make sure that you're placing your brows where you want them. Now for my eyes, what I find the quickest and just sort of something that can be quite nice for a daytime look, I actually take a paint pot. This one is called Rubenesque by MAC, and it basically is like the paint pot version of MAC's Melon pigment, but once applied it's actually less intense, so it kind of just looks like a nice glossy sheen, almost like a natural, I don't know how to describe it. It just looks really natural and like done up, but not too much. I typically just use my finger to get like more pigment, and it's quicker just to go over it with your finger. I would suggest if you are using your fingers that you just kind of want to make sure you don't touch anything like your clothes or the rest of your face, and just like wash them off when you're done so that you don't get it all over yourself, pretty much. So now what I would typically do is highlight. I will be using the NARS Creamy Concealer. I just kind of keep it really simple, just to cover the dark circles and just to highlight the nose a tiny bit. I don't bring it down as far as I would, or bring it in as far as I would for like a really glam look. And I'm just using the other side of my Real Techniques sponge to pat that in. This step is obviously completely optional. It's up to you how far you want to go with concealing and highlighting and stuff. But for me, on a daily basis, I just like to do it because I feel it brings more dimension to my face. So I actually find it more natural for daytime looks to highlight and contour the same that I would at night, just tone down a little bit more, just to make things more natural. So then I'm going in with my contouring kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm taking this shade here. You can see my palette is well loved. With my Sigma Large Powder F30 brush, I'm just going in with the banana shade and patting that under my eyes. I'm not sweeping it because sometimes I find if I sweep it, it kind of takes off the product a little more. Like, it'll sweep off the concealer. And then this is a Morphe brush. I don't know why it doesn't have the number on it, but anyway, I'm then just taking this shade here and patting that into my forehead. Just underneath where I would contour. I'm going to take the shade here in the middle and I'm going to contour. I'm just taking my Poni Cosmetics contouring brush and just sweeping that down my nose. And while we have the contouring kit out, taking that same colour, I'm going to contour my eyes now. So instead of using a eyeshadow, I just contour my eyes with this. I find it looks very natural. You'll find that the bristles of the brush will naturally just fall into the crease of your eye. You don't really have to try too hard. I also take that underneath the eye. Now for my favourite part of all, I'm going to highlight. I'm going to take my Sigma E40 brush and I'm just going to take the shade here from the Anastasia Beverly Hills contouring kit. I find this is really underrated. Like, it's actually such a nice highlight and I barely hear people talking about it. So on my XO Beauty angled eyeshadow brush, I'm just going to pop that on the brow bone. And I always highlight the tip of my nose and the inner corners. Now I'm going to go in with some bronzer. I'm taking my NARS Laguna bronzer. Again, just patting that into the skin. This is quite a cool toned bronzer, so you can even use this for contouring as well if you like. I also like to curl my lashes, so I'm going to go in and do that. And then for mascara today, I'm going to use my Better Than Sex mascara. And lastly is lips. So the good thing about daytime is everything else in the face is very neutral, and basically you can pair any lip colour you want with it. I would typically do nude just because you don't have to be too careful about the lip line. You can just literally whack it on and no one's going to notice if your lip line is a little shoddy. If you want to wear red or orange or black, whatever you like, whatever floats your boat, pop that on. I say this all the time, but I'm just going to add some more highlighter to my lips because my natural lip line is kind of hard to see. So I like to put extra highlighter on there so that it really defines that line for me, and then it's easier for me to line my lips. So now I don't know if you can see, but it's just a lot easier to see where my lip line is. So then I'm going to go in with my Clinique lip liner. This one is in the shade Neutrally. It is my go-to favourite everyday lip liner. You could totally just go with a lip gloss as well. I mean, whatever's easy. I like to put on something that I don't have to touch up during the day, or if it does wear off, it's not like colour all around here and then in the middle it's like, whoa, where did your lipstick go? I normally either put on like a creamy nude kind of glossy lipstick or an actual gloss, or I have like a liquid lipstick that is just not going to come off. So today I'm going to go in with my YSL. This one is in the shade 06. It's just a really nice nude. It's just easy to wear, and when it comes off you can't really tell so much, and then you can just reapply it whenever you like. And then we're all done, so I'm just going to go and finish everything off with a finishing spray. This one is by Scandinavia. I do have a coupon code still for these if you're shopping on the Scandinavia Australian website. I'll link my code below if you're interested in saving some money. So this is the finished look. But that is everything. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and as usual, if you did, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Don't forget, you guys can use my hashtag Chels Randall. So if you do use my hashtag, I would love to see your looks. If you recreate a look of mine, or just a look that you're like, yeah, I think Chels would really dig this look. So if you do use my hashtag, I'll be sure to check it out. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!